Wall Street Journal reports today that when Senator Dianne Feinstein received a letter from a California constituent expressing a desire to stay anonymous, but also conveying an allegation of a serious attempted rape, an allegation that Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh had attempted to rape this woman when he was a 17-year-old in high school. Dianne Feinstein tried to figure out how she could have those allegations looked into, how she could have them investigated while still protecting this woman's desire to keep her name confidential. According to the Wall Street Journal, quote, once they received the letter containing the allegation against Kavanaugh, Senator Feinstein's staffers approached the Senate Ethics Committee to inquire about whether the Judiciary Committee could hire an independent outside counsel to evaluate the allegations. They were told the Rules Committee would have to approve such a request, and, quote, the Republican chairman of the Rules Committee and the Republican chairman of the Judiciary Committee would both have to sign off on the request. That was an action Senator Feinstein's staffers determined that would have violated Dr. Ford's desire to remain anonymous. So that's why Senator Feinstein didn't go that route, because she couldn't have pursued that while preserving her constituents' desire for anonymity. Well, now her constituent in this case is no longer anonymous. The White House and Republicans in the Senate so far have been adamant, for reasons that are not clear, that they will not allow the FBI to investigate this allegation as part of Brett Kavanaugh's background check as a nominee, even though that would be standard procedure in a case like this. But if they won't let the FBI look into this for whatever reason, maybe they just hate the FBI now, so they don't want the FBI doing anything. If they won't let the FBI do it, well, how about anybody else? How about this other path? What about having an independent outside counsel look into it instead, if the Republicans in the White House are so scared of the prospect of the FBI doing it? Joining us now is Senator Maize Hirono of Hawaii. She is a member of the Senate Judiciary Committee. She has supported the idea that the FBI should investigate this matter. Senator Hirono, I really appreciate your time tonight. Thank you for being here.
Good evening.
Can you just give us your sense of the state of play right now in terms of where negotiations stand and how you understand your committee is going to proceed?
There are no negotiations. It's Chuck Grassley and the committee basically going forward, and in what I can consider a seat of the pants kind of an approach. So you laid out really clearly, Rachel, why the FBI investigation should occur, and the reason they don't want this to occur or anything like this to happen is that anything that gets in the way of fast tracking Judge Kavanaugh's ascent to the Supreme Court is not where the Republicans are. They need to get him on the court, lickety-split, really, before the October term begins. There are some pretty important cases coming before the Supreme Court. They need Judge Kavanaugh's fifth vote. They don't want any 4-to-4 ties anymore. That is the impetus.
When, in the precedent that we all see here, which was in 1991 with new allegations raised during the confirmation process about Judge Clarence Thomas, the FBI was directed by the White House that they should look into that as part of their background check. The criticism of that FBI investigation at the time, if anything, was that it was too cursory, it was too quick. It took them all of 2.5 days to complete their assessment there. Given that precedent, given how quickly the FBI looked into it and came up with their report on that matter back then, is there an expectation that the FBI would take a substantial amount of time here, the kind of delay that you're talking about here? Do we have any sense about what the extent of their investigation would be if they looked into it?
I want their investigation to be thorough. There are many more eyes looking at what the FBI is doing. The kind of cursory investigation they did regarding Anita Hill's allegations would not be deemed acceptable. And of course the Democrats would say, what is this, some kind of whitewash? If you're going to do an investigation, do your jobs. So there is an expectation that they will do their jobs in the appropriate way. But yet again, this is not something that the Republicans want to contemplate at all. They are in a rush to get this man on the court. Why? Because for one thing, the president is an unindicted co-conspirator, and he would like to have somebody on the court who he thinks is going to protect him from criminal and civil proceedings while he is there sitting as president. That's a major incentive, I'd say.
Senator, the Wall Street Journal has reported that one of the things that Senator Feinstein looked into when she first got this letter from Dr. Blasey Ford was the prospect of calling in some sort of outside investigative counsel to look at the allegation, to see how serious the allegation is, to see if there's corroboration for it, and to see how as a factual matter, senators might look into assessing the credibility of this allegation and the denial from Judge Kavanaugh. Senator Feinstein elected not to go that route, not to pursue that. But I wonder, given how things are going, if you and other Democrats on the committee now are thinking about potentially trying to engage some sort of independent investigator to look into this matter.
Well, that is still going to require the consent of the Rules Committee Republican chair and Chuck Grassley, so that's a non-starter. The FBI is supposed to be doing this investigation, and for Chuck Grassley to say there's nothing that the FBI can do that will have any relevance to Dr. Ford's testimony defies all logic in my view. And by the way, we all know that she is being threatened. You know, isn't that witness tampering? Isn't that a crime? Why does the FBI have to wait around for the president to say, go do your jobs? Why don't they do their jobs? I think there's a crime that's occurring right now. She's afraid to come to testify, not to mention she is not getting a fair deal. They force and power of the presidency and the administration and all of their supporters in the Senate arrayed for Kavanaugh, and what does she have? I think when she said that she wanted to testify, she would participate, I think she expected a modicum of fairness. That's not what she's getting. Why the heck should she participate in basically a situation that is so disadvantageous to her and that re-victimizes her? This is exactly what happened to Anita Hill.
Senator, just to underscore what you just said there, you're suggesting that the efforts that have been made to threaten Dr. Blasey Ford since she came out, her lawyers have said that she's had to leave her home. There have been death threats. She's been impersonated online. We have seen that she's been doxxed, essentially, that her personal information has been posted online. You're saying that should be investigated federally as a law enforcement matter, as witness tampering?
That sounds like witness tampering to me. So why doesn't the FBI go in and investigate that? They do not need to have the president tell them to do it. So there are so many reasons that this unseemly rush to get Judge Kavanaugh on the court is just, well, it is explainable, but it's not acceptable.
Senator
It's
Maize
not
Hirono.
what we should be doing.
Senator Maize Hirono of Hawaii, excuse me there, ma'am, member of the Senate Judiciary Committee. I really appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you.
Keep us apprised. Thank you. All right, much more to get to tonight. Stay with us.
Let's be honest. You need insurance.